Hello, welcome to Web of Stories. My name is Melinda, and I am here with an unusual 5 on Friday. It's unusual for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's not 5 on Friday. Let me go back a little bit. 5 on Friday was started by Suey at Suey's Book Banner, and each Friday we give you a themed list of 5 books. Under normal circumstances, mine are like I set my timer for 5 minutes and talk and see if I can get it done in 5 minutes. Suey's are a lot nicer. She's taking a little break from it right now, but do check out her channel, and she'll be back with 5 on Fridays. There you go. This, however, is a different kind of video, and I do reserve the right to break from form from time to time. This is not the first time I've broken from form, but I do promise I will not cry in this one like I did the last one. So yeah, that's unusual. Secondly, when I do my 5 on Friday videos, I normally film them on Thursdays. That gives me time to sort of like think of something that's going on, what's inspiring me from what's going on in the world, what time of year it is, all that sort of thing to make me put together a list of 5 books. So I am not actually filming this on Thursday. I'm filming this on a Tuesday, which is important because Tuesday is Tag Tuesday. And I have spent the morning watching a lot of videos, and a lot of them were book tag videos. And one in particular I've been seeing a lot of today and the last couple of weeks, and it is one that I have done. So I will put my video down below so you can see it. And that is the library tag. And this tag was created by the Book Buds, so I will link them down below. Now, in this video, there's some things I just hear over and over again from different people, but one in particular stuck out to me. And that is a number of people, and I 100% fall in this boat. So I'm not calling anyone out because I'm one of you. And this is not a call out, this is just an observation. A lot of people have said that they don't physically go to the library as much now because they're getting ebooks and audiobooks through Libby or Hoopla or whatever, which is great. That is a great thing to do. And it's wonderful that libraries have it. Please continue to do that. This is not at all to take away from that. That not only is it very convenient for us, but it also works into the circulation numbers that libraries have to report for funding and things like that. So all that's great. However, another thing that many libraries, I don't know if all libraries, but many libraries do need to kind of keep track of and report when it comes to funding, is basically the number of people who come through the doors. And that is where Libby kind of works against it a little bit because people aren't coming through the doors to get their library materials. See what I mean? So I have a list of 5 things that are not books or audiobooks that your library can provide for you if you go to the library. So all of these you do have to go to the library for. I am not timing. I'm just gonna talk. The first one is you can check out things at libraries that are not books. In the tag video, there is a question about video games and DVDs. And yes, you can check those out at libraries. You can also check out, I should tell you, this is all based on my library, but I'm pretty sure that all these apply to most, if not all of your library. In my library, you can check out board games. They have in fact, they have the largest collection in the state. Country? I don't know. They have a lot. A largest collection of something of board games. All sorts of board games. You have Monopoly, you have D&D, you have party games, all sorts of them. You can check them out. Personally, I don't check them out because my kids are unable to get all the pieces back in the box of their own games, so I don't trust them with library games. But that's there. Another thing that my library has is called the Library of Things, where you can it's exactly what it sounds like. You could check out some of the things I know they have there. They have sewing machines. They have electric guitars. They have like something to do with like welding or I don't know, like a blowtorch or something. They have one of those movie theater style popcorn makers. They have cake pop molds. They have all sorts of like fancy cake pans. There's all sorts of things that this library has that you can check out. You check it out just like a book, except you can't get it through Libby. So check with your library, see what they offer besides books, because I guarantee they offer quite a bit that you aren't aware of, unless you're in the know, and then you probably know what they're aware of. Number 2, you can get at your library government publications. So, for example, during tax season, if you're someone who still does their taxes on paper, which some people do, I guess, you can go to the library and get your tax forms. I don't know if they have tax forms all year long, but they have them in tax season. This past February, my daughter turned 15, and you bet your bottom dollar, I went to the library and picked up a copy of the Oregon Driver's Manual and wrapped it up and gave it to her. And she needs to get off her butt and study that thing and get her permit, because it needs to happen. Our Parks and Rec department puts their activities guides out there in the library. You can just get all of these things, by the way, are free. They're all free. There's emergency preparedness materials. There is the form for young men when they turn 18 to sign up for selective service. There's voter registration forms, all of those. Now, they aren't only available at the library. You can get them at other places, but they are at the library. And frequently, it's a lot easier to get to the library because a library is a very customer-focused office, for lack of a better word, as opposed to other city government offices, which aren't. So you're going to have a lot more parking. It's going to be easier to get to. There are going to be people there who their whole job is to help you. So you can get all those things at the library. All right, number 3, libraries. And this is a kind of non-tangible thing, but they have a lot of hobby groups. So the obvious one is a book group, which is ironic that I bring that up because my library book group meets on Zoom. But that is only because we have a member who doesn't live in our area and at least one member who snowbirds. So we've decided to stay on Zoom, and that came out of the pandemic. But my library does have other library book groups that meet in person. But there's also writing groups, genealogy groups, English, Spanish practice groups, craft groups, all sorts of groups. And they're put on by the library. They probably have like a librarian there or someone to just kind of facilitate it. But those sorts of activities bring people in, and I don't want to say they take attendance, but they do record who's there so they can say, this is how we're using our money. And they're free. They're free unless there might be a material fee if you're doing a craft one, but I don't know. But yeah, those are hobby groups. Number 4 are meeting rooms and conference rooms. So my library has a number of small meeting or conference rooms, and they're usually big enough for a table and like 4 to 6 people to sit in. There might be, I think, 1 or 2 smaller ones. There's just like 2 people. And they're great places for I've had a book club in one of these. If you are studying or you need some quiet to do something, you can check out. I tend to say rent. So if I slip and say rent, I actually mean check out. There's no fee for these. One of these rooms and go use it for a period of time. They also have larger rooms. And when my daughter was an infant, so my older child was an infant, and mom's group, we would meet in one of their big rooms. It was free for us to check it. We just had to reserve it, but it was free. And we did that until our babies were kind of mobile enough and crawling around that they needed toys and stuff. And then it just became too much of a hassle to bring all the toys. But this way we could meet and no one had to clean their house. And there was parking, and it was just, sorry, my nose is itchy. This is something that's free of charge for the library. The only thing is you have to reserve it. And if you're someone who's looking for a public place to maybe, like, let's say you're making a Craigslist purchase or something, or you're maybe interviewing someone for something, and you want someplace public for safety, but you also need some privacy, these library conference rooms will work for that. Okay. The 5th one is very interesting, and it's one that I do use, which kind of makes me mad, not at the library, but just at the world. And that is, I originally had air conditioning right here, but I'm going to say climate. In the summer, so I live in the Pacific Northwest. If you don't know, I live in Oregon, and it used to be as of like 5 years ago, a really hot summer day was like maybe in the mid 90s. Now a hot summer day is 105, and we can plan on getting at least 3 or 4 of them during the summer. And air conditioning is something that is now becoming much more common in where I live, but it hasn't been for a long time. We have air conditioning in our house, which is nice. Now also in the other part of the year, we could have really cold weather. We aren't like Midwest cold, but cold for us, and can be icy. So during the summer, I mean, during both of these, we personally, my family has heat and air conditioning. We don't have to worry about that. But our power company does this thing called, they have like a peak time rebate, which basically means like they'll call a peak time, which is usually when it's especially hot or especially cold, for like 4 hours. And if during that time you can reduce your usage, you get a rebate. And I mean, there's no charge if you don't reduce it. And there have been times where that has not been feasible for us to do. But I do like to take advantage of that when I can. Not so much for the rebate because it's not that much, but because it is a stress during those times. Our power grid is under stress, and you want to do what you can to alleviate the stress. So when they call those during the summer, I will turn off our air conditioning. I'll unplug all our unnecessary appliances, turn off all the lights, tell the kids can't watch television, play video games. My husband frequently, because he works at home, he might have to stay home, but otherwise I do all that. And then the kids and I go to the library and we sit down in the air conditioning and we read. I love it. They hate it. I love it. And beyond that, our library serves as both a cooling station and a heating station. So cooling station in the summers, a heating station in the winters, where when we do have that inclement weather, people who are not, privileged to have a home that is air conditioned and heated to maintain a good temperature, or they might be unhomed or whatever, but they have a place where they can go where they're going to be safe from the weather. And even if it's like, I don't think it's 24 hours, but even if it's before or after library hours, the way our building is, they have those gates that come down over the library part, but there's still other parts of the library where people can go and they can get out of the extreme heat or the extreme cold. And that is just for the community. That is to keep people safe. And the library's not asking for anything back from that. That is something that they do for the community. So, and again, I could stay home in my air conditioning, but I take the kids, we go to the library when it's super hot and we just sit for a couple hours and read. Or the kids try to find something else to do so they don't have to go with me, because sitting down in the library and reading is not always their favorite thing to do, but whatever. Anyway, those are 5 things that are good reasons to go to your library physically. Now keep checking out those books on Libby and Hoopla. Keep doing that, because that is important too. I'm not at all trying to insinuate we shouldn't be doing that, because you can, but there's still a value in going to the library if you're able to get your reading materials electronically. So anyway, if you can think of another thing that I didn't mention that maybe your library does, put it down below. These are just the first 5 that came to my mind. I'm sure there's others. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, join my Discord if you'd like. Thank you for indulging me with this and my little break from form on 5 on Friday. I promise we'll have books next week. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.